All right, down here at the bottom left, our Protoss player, he's very smart. Some might say he's
MVP Genius.
Oh, well, if you used that joke last time. There's a shot of him. He's got to be focused. He looks focused. He needs to be. His opponent over here at the right side of the map, he is
Slayer Submit.
the Slayers team, who's had some great success recently in the team league, and then a lot of players moving up to Code S. Been doing extremely well in the Super Tournament as well. I mean, Min took out July Zerg. So, whoa, that's pretty important. That's pretty big within itself. Some other big news about July Zerg that I'm not going to talk about. You guys can look that up on TL. Don't want to give any spoilers. There's a scout coming out for Genius. Does see that's going to be a speedling expand. Actually do a little bit of what I like to call mineral harassment, where you keep mining the minerals at the close patch. As you can notice there, he keeps mining that patch so that when Min's drones go to mine from there, they have to walk all the way around because the AI is like, oh, someone's already mining here, I can't mine here. So it's a really sneaky, interesting thing you can do if you've got a lot of APM. Just continue to do it. And there's nothing really that Min can do about it, because if he tries to pull drones to attack the probe's just going to run away and he's going to lose even more mining time. Looks like he just did decide to steal those minerals. Once you steal the minerals, you can't do the trick anymore, because the probe will not mine for any extended period of time because he already has the minerals. He's done mining. He's got to use the return cargo command. There's Genius's wall off. He's completed. Normally you don't use the pile on this part of the wall off. Genius, he's a genius. I can't criticize him for his wall off. Genius is taking a second gas back at home, so most likely we'll see some sort of sentry expand from him. That's the normal build that you see on a medium-sized map. Not common to see fast expands on maps like this, you know, forge fast expands anyways, because the brush is fairly small. The naturals are often wide open. Gotta expand safely. Here comes that scouting drone. Gonna sneak in there right before the Zealot pops. All he wants to see is, did you take 2 gas? And if you didn't, can I take your gas with my drone? He sees you did take your 2 gas. Now he's gonna try to hang out as long as he can, see if his opponent makes a sentry or a stalker. It's very telling. It is going to be a sentry, but Min's not going to know that. And again, there's nothing really that Genius can do about this drone being in his base, because drones are faster than Zealots. So if he controls the drone properly, should be able to keep it alive until that sentry gets out. And with some good control after the sentry comes out, you can actually keep it alive even longer, because sentries do not have very good range, and they're not very quick either. Should be able to keep that drone alive for a while. Some nice stutter step micro there by Genius. Trying to target that drone down. Oh! If he gets around the mineral line, it'll be bad. Keep it alive for a lot longer that way. Juking him out. Oh! It's like, bringing some probes. He wants that dead. There he goes. Goodbye, drone. You lived a nice life. Now, when is Genius going to make the Nexus? Some players recently have been going 1-gate Nexus, which is super, super risky, but you can get away with it, and that's exactly what he's going to do. It's like the new style sentry expand. People found out that sentries are so good that you can actually just really, if you control your sentries properly, if you're comfortable just using that force to defend against the roaches and not having that many gateways powered up, you can get those sentries out and hold it with just 1 gate. Very risky, very doable. Back in Min's base, he has started an evolution chamber. Doesn't have a roach warren just yet. Transferring his drones now. Now, the evolution chamber at this timing is not normally for quick upgrades. It's just in case. You scout the double gas. The opponent could be going for DTs. It could have hidden the Stargate. You just want to have that evolution chamber to be safe. It's like an engineering bay, obviously. A Terran engineering bay. Something you got to have sometimes, because if your opponent does something sneaky and you're going to call a little off guard, you're going to need it. But he is actually going to go pretty quick into the melee attacks. This is something you see oftentimes players do when their opponents go, ooh, quick Stargate. But as I was saying, this is sometimes something you see Zerg players do. They get a very fast melee attack. They get a lot of speedlings out so that when the speedlings just happen to get past force fields, they can kill the sentries so quickly. So if you get those speedlings in, they do that extra damage, the sentries fall much quicker. That's the main reason why they get that melee attack. As you know, against Zealots and Stalkers, it doesn't make that significant of a difference, but against those sentries that have very little hit points, no armor, it makes a significant difference. So, with the Stargate, what we're most likely going to see from Genius is some sort of play where he gets 1 Void Ray out, follows up the Void Ray with some Phoenixes. If you do that, you can kill a lot of Queens, kill a lot of drones. Min Doesn't yet know about the Stargate, so he hasn't really prepared. He hasn't made any Spore Crawlers, but all it takes is one scout of the Void Ray. You can see a shot of it now. He's going to start making those Spore Crawlers. You have to make your Spore Crawlers in smart places too, and you have to make sure that your queens are in a good spot, because one Void Ray and like 3 Phoenixes, if your queen gets isolated from her, her friends, her buddies, then you're in trouble. You lose your queen because those Void Rays are going to get charge up on your queen, kill that queen. The queen can't attack because the Phoenixes or friends try to join in the battle, and you're too far away from the Spore Crawlers. All the Phoenixes picked up the rest of the queens. It's pretty nasty. And now the Overlord has been spotted, or rather the Overlord spots the Void Ray. The Void Ray moves out. Phoenix is being chrono boosted. To follow it up, Phoenix build time reduced relatively recently, back in, I think it was October. And ever since then, people have started doing this build because you can just get those Phoenixes out so fast. Get them out, finish up the attack. Phoenix is like tagging along with that Void Ray. It's like his father or something like that. As a little kid, he's like, I'm going to go everywhere you go, Dad. Daddy Void Ray. Overlord drops being researched for Min. That's very interesting. As well as Overlord speed. So he wants to do some drops for sure, and his Hydralisk Den is going up as well. Hydra drops can be very strong against this type of blade because, of course, you can completely circumvent the force fields. And it's good against these types of units. Now, see, here's one of those queens. The queen's isolated from the pack. Not picking it up right away, though. Wants to see if there are any other queens around. Taking a lot of hits, though, on those Phoenixes. And it looks like Overlord speed is about to finish up, so it's going to allow him to keep those Overlords alive. Okay, so here's the Baneling Nest. This is his plan with the drops. He's going to want to drop a lot of Banelings on top of the Protoss army. When the Protoss army goes for the Stargate play, they're very dependent on those sentries. If you use the sentries to force field units off, so it's like, you make the Stargate units, they're not that strong, but you're teching, you don't have that many units, but you have the force fields, and if you have force fields, you can buy enough time, you can get the units out that you need. But if your opponent has Banelings and Overlord drops, especially if those Overlord drops have speed, you can just drop on top of those sentries. The sentries die so fast to Banelings, and it just ignores force fields in general. So you have to be very, very careful. So Robotics has been scouted, as well as the Robotics Bay, by that Speed Overlord. Interestingly enough, Min isn't going to take a third base right now. He did make up just a few Hydralisks. He's going to try to pick off some of these Phoenixes. Phoenixes actually beat Hydralisks in a straight-up fight. If you don't have a decent Hydralisk count, just be very careful about how he engages that. Alright, so at this point, neither player really wants to take a third base because both players, Genius sees, okay, you're making a lot of Banelings, you're making a lot of units, I don't really want to take a third base right now, it's a liability, and at the same note, Min doesn't really want to take a base right now, he wants to be a little bit aggressive first, but I think Min is going to be the player who has the first opportunity to take another base, and look at that, getting ready to drop those Banelings. Queen, isolated from the pack, that's what I'm talking about, the Queens get too far away from the Spore Crawlers, they will get isolated and killed. Now, just another thing I'd like to tell you guys, a little tip. Actually, just totally escaped from my mind. I was going to say it a second ago, now I don't remember. Oh, Banelings, if you lift them up with a Phoenix and kill them, the splash damage still applies to the units below. So, for those of you guys who didn't know that, it's not like you can really use the Phoenixes to lift up the Banelings to avoid the damage. Oh, saves the Queen. Hydra saved the Queen. Maybe it'll be a national anthem of Char one day. Hydra saved the Queen. That is so many Banelings in those dropships. In fact, I'll give you guys a unit count on that. 36 Banelings. They can fit into 9 Overlords because Overlords can hold 4 Banelings. Doing some simple math here at the GSL. There's extra Overlords coming with this push. Now, twofold, he's going to be able to use these Overlords to spread creep for the Hydras. So the Hydras are going to be able to move very quickly. It's a really nice timing attack. And I say timing attack, it sounds kind of weird, but this is basically what this is. It's a timing attack with Overlord drops. Nice force fields though, does buy some time, but here come the Banelings. There are a lot of photon cannons far away from that Nexus, but there are just so many units dropping out of these Overlords, killing so much. The Colossi trying to avoid being hit by the Banelings, but the Banelings just hitting everything on the ground. Unfortunately, though, not killing as much as I think Min wanted. Now he's going to start losing some of these Overlords. The Hydras didn't really do any damage. Phoenixes and Void Rays chasing down the remainder of those Overlords. Now there are some Colossi out. He did keep those alive. So battle just did not go as well for Min as he wanted, I don't think. Oh! That's all there is to say about that. It's just some loud onomatopoeic sound as the Banelings blow up. and blow up all those probes. That was pretty intense. The little engagement here in the middle, a lot of Zerglings getting caught off guard by some Colossi. Supply counts right now, 91 supply for Min to 75 supply of Genius. And he was actually significantly ahead until his probes went down. He wants to try to sneak in with these Zerglings, but that Colossus has something to say about that. 55 drones though to 25 probes. Nice Colossi action, keeping those Colossi mobile on the map. He knows, okay, you invested that much in the Baneling drops, you don't have a Spire. I can just move my Colossi around the map because all you have are Hydras, which are going to be slow off creep, and Speedlings, which I can just run around cliffs and kill tons of with the Hydras, or excuse me, with the Colossi. So I like that choice of Genius being bold and brave with the Colossi. Here comes some Phoenixes trying to sneak in here and do some damage. Does have a Spore Crawler prepared. Oh, going to get some of these drones that are transferring. That's my something's going to happen voice. Oh! Goodbye, drones. You can also kill Larva with Phoenixes, by the way, pretty quickly if you lift those up. But man, he is just going to kill all those drones. So, somewhat equalizing the drone count, but Min is still ahead 13 workers. And I actually think at this point, because of the tech situations that we have, and even though Genius doesn't have as good of an economy, he's got a lot of strong units. He's got 4 Colossi out on the map. He's got more on the way. Just continuing to make those Stalkers. There are a few Mutas out, but he does have a decent amount of Stalkers, not to mention the Phoenixes. And if the Phoenixes ever find those Mutas, they can just outrun the Mutas forever, kill them, pick them off. So the Mutalist choice I can't say I agree with, but Min is going to try to make it work. He just wants to really capitalize on his opponent's weakened economy and keep that economy low. Keep him in his base. Here he goes, targeting down some of these units, and the Protoss army not completely in position to deal with that. Didn't lose that many probes, but here going to Muse into the main. Probes going to stack up here a little bit. Killing a few of those probes. Stalkers blink up. May lose one Muta. Oh! Gets all of those Mutas out of there. Whoa, how did he do that? 2 of those Mutas with 2 life each left. 1 all the way down to 46. Saved every Muta, killed a lot of probes. Beautiful control by Slayer's Min. Min actually moving around the map with those Zerglings, still trying to check for hidden expansions, try to find any rogue units that he might see. And finally, I was going to say, I should have gotten this a while ago, Genius is going to continue making Phoenixes now that he's seen those Mutas, and he's getting +1 attack for those Phoenixes. And that actually makes a huge difference from Mutas versus Phoenixes, how much damage they do. And the +1 flyer attacks from the Mutas isn't going to be that significant against those Phoenixes because he's, you know, realistically, if Genius controls his Phoenixes properly, the Mutas should never even be able to hit them. So Genius has started some static defenses back at home, but here come the Mutas, back to the natural expansion. We'll get a shot of it. Here they come, targeting down some of those probes. Trying to get a Colossus, does back away, and here's the problem. Once those Phoenixes get out, those Mutas have nowhere to run, and if Genius wants to, he can just continue to chase down those Mutas. He's got 2 Stargates cranking out Phoenixes. Can't believe he didn't chase them though. Could have done so much damage, could have killed all those Phoenixes. If the Mutas just stop, and you know, the Phoenix, and try to engage the Phoenixes run away, and then the Blink Stalkers just slowly close in, slowly, and then eventually Mutas just have to run, and while they're running, the Phoenixes do damage. You guys know what I'm talking about. I know the high-level players know what I'm talking about, so I'm really surprised that Genius did not pursue those Mutalisks. There are a lot of them, but he had a lot of Phoenixes too. In fact, let's look at some unit counts here. 10 Phoenixes and 28 Mutas. I know it seems like the Mutas have an overwhelming victory count in that regard, but here they come now. Gonna target down a pylon here. But here come the Phoenixes now. He should chase this time. He does have +1 attack. Just finishing up. Should chase now. They're gonna do this little dance where the Mutas try to turn around. Has to control no, he's not doing proper Phoenix control. Maybe that's why he wasn't chasing him. He's not very confident in his Phoenix harassment. Phoenix control, I should say. I mean, he is harassing those Mutas, but I don't know if I would call it Phoenix harassment. Picking off some of those Zerglings with those Phoenixes. Phoenix, if you will. So at this point, 170 supply for Min to 117 supply for Genius. And I'll tell you guys why. Why? Genius didn't take a 3rd base during all of this. He got kept in this main base by the Mutas, and if you let the Mutas control you, it's like drugs, man. If they control you, you know, you're in trouble. It's a terrible joke. But I mean, if the Mutas control you and keep you on your base and you don't move out and be aggressive or move out and take a 3rd base, you're just always going to be scared, and your opponent's going to have better supply than you because you just can't keep up with him if he's got more bases than you. Speaking of more bases, Min actually has a 4th base up now. Just transferring drones there now, getting it up and running. Trying to see some good Phoenix control here from Genius. He's starting to do it a little bit better. He's got a pretty scary big death ball. As far as cost goes in army, Min's army is a little bit more expensive. Just looking at that army tab on my other screen. But as far as cost effectiveness goes, if Genius engages those Mutalisks right and keeps that Mutalisk count low with his Phoenixes like he should be doing right now, then he should be able to win a fight. Possibly. It all comes down to the micro. But if he keeps being passive like this, he's never going to be able to take a third base. In fact, Min is taking his 5th base now. And I got to say, if Genius doesn't make something happen soon with this death ball that he's sort of constructed, it's not a full-fledged death ball, but it's one of those death balls that can kill armies. If he doesn't get moving and get doing something with that soon, I think that he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Now he's going to engage and kill a lot of these speedlings. That's one small victory. But here come a huge count of Muse. You got to keep tabs on those Muse with your Phoenixes, or else this happens. Going to kill all of Genius's probes. In fact, Genius shouldn't even turn around. He should actually just attack right now. He's going to lose his Nexus, and the Muse will escape. Genius needs to attack. He's being too indecisive here. It's time to go for the counterattack. It's time to do the last attempt, the last stand for Genius. There are a lot of spine crawlers out for Min. That's going to help him out significantly here. Genius, man, he's got to make something happen. He can't just sit back and try to defend. There's no more of that. And here he goes, moving forward. He's going to try to take out these cube terminals. He should actually just ignore those. Muse is going to try to scare him back, but Genius is not going to have any of it this time. He's just going to go for an attack, and it looks like maybe seeing some sort of a base race here, because it looks like Min doesn't want to use those Mutalisks in this fight. Starting to cut in to the structures of Min now, as Min tears apart Genius's base. Now, Genius actually doesn't have any probes out, so he has no escaped probes. And if the Mutalisks stay there at the top of the ramp, he can't get any of his probes out. He's going to have to turn around, because his base is going to die faster than he kills his opponent's base. So he does split his units up here, leaving his Blinkstalkers back, sending back his Phoenixes and his Colossi. Should be leaving the Colossi to attack the bases, because Colossi can't actually kill Mutalisks, but look at that. There's just so many Mutalisks, and the Mutalisks are just ignoring him. Trying to do the best he can to kill those Mutalisks, but there's just so many Mutalisks. Muse can just ignore everything and target down those structures. Did he manage to get a probe out? He has 1 probe, 2 probes escaped. He's being revealed. Those 2 probes, the only thing he has to remake structures. He's got to keep those alive. One of them on very low hit points. He only has 225 minerals, so he can make any combination of like two pylons or like 2 extractors and like actually 3 extractors. He can afford 3 extractors. That would be the best thing to do. I say extractors, I mean to say assimilators, but as far as supplies go, 158 supply for Min. He still has mining bases, 2 of them in fact. And the Phoenixes are out of position, so he does target down one of those Colossi. And I can't stress enough how much Genius needs to make something happen right now, because he has no mining. He's got nothing, and there's no way for him to get any mining. He doesn't have enough money for a Nexus. He's got to get aggressive. And what I'd like to see him do is actually like offensively take an assimilator with his probes at one of his opponent's bases, and just keep doing that. Leapfrog from base to base, take an assimilator at each hatchery he's killing. That way he's got something he can defend, because if he lets, he's kind of got to let his main base go. If he just defends it, he'll never win. He won't ever lose necessarily until Min gets enough forces up. But staying back here and doing this defense kind of stuff is not going to win him the game. Min's making more and more Mutas right now, getting extractors up. This play by Genius is not how you should be doing. This is not how you should play this kind of a situation. Now, you got to be aggressive. Bring your probes with you. In fact, does he still have those probes? He does. I'm trying to find them. Yeah, they're with his main army. Got to be very careful. Now, if he kills this base and makes an offensive gas and his opponent's natural or something like that, he'll be able to defend it as he kills the main base. He can kind of continue to do that. As it stands, though, he's so scared about the Muse, he keeps turning back. This is one approach, though, where you can kill a hatchery, turn back, deal with the Muse, and then continue to pressure forward with your army again. Just has to be so careful about it. Trying to find those Mutas with his Phoenixes. We got 53 Mutas out, 13 Phoenixes. So even though that's a significant amount of Mutas, if he controls his Phoenixes properly, I can't stress to you enough how good they are, especially when you've got Stalkers supporting them. Goes all the way home. Doesn't need to do that. Why did he go home? Ah, Genius! It's giving Min enough time to continue building his forces up. To be honest, I'd like to see some Roaches added into his army once he starts getting his economy back up, once he gets that 3rd base remade. I think he is probably going to start a Roach Warren and continue making Roaches. In fact, he still has his Hydralisk Den, but there are a lot of Colossi out. Oh, the Phoenixes! See, he's trying to catch those Mews off guard. The Mews have to leave, but he just needs to leave his main base, take an offensive gas on one of the bases he's killing, guard that. He's guarding this main base. It's just not going to work. I'm sorry, Genius, it's not going to work. Now he's going to do some harassment with these Phoenixes, which is at least something, but does give the Mews an opportunity to come through here and crush everything. They do have +2 attack, and with no Phoenixes supporting this army, there aren't enough Stalkers in here. He's actually just going to engage this army head on, which I think is the right choice. Genius's Phoenix is coming back, but he's losing all of his Stalkers. Genius is going to be taken out here. Not going to advance to the round of 16 because Min has this game won. The Phoenix is stacked up. He's not microing them. And that's it. GG. Min on the Team Slayers advances to the round of 16, taking Genius out 2-0 in a pretty clean sweep. He looks so happy with himself. Look at that grin. I love that grin. I love players that get happy and excited when they win. I love it. I'm a huge Genius fan though, so I am disappointed and sorry for him. But you'll see him again. He's still in Codes. He's a very, very top player. He's going to meet Min in Codes eventually. Possibly. There's a chance of that. So, in those base race situations, when your opponent has the Muse out, he kills your Nexus, you just don't go home. Don't go home. Don't do it. Because the Muse, he's got like 30 Muse in your base killing your Nexus. You go home to save your Nexus, you can't get there in time. You just can't. You're already at his base. Why are you going to go home? You go home to save your Nexus, the Muse just leave. They're like, see ya, and you're like, now I lost my Nexus, and I didn't kill any Mutas, and I didn't attack his base. And then in the later situations where he had just a few probes, he could have made some more buildings, he kept trying to defend his main. He should have just said, I'm going to make assimilators at your base, your former base, like your main base, make an assimilator at the main base. Defend that while you kill the natural in the main, then leapfrog to the next base, make an assimilator there, because he has enough for 3 assimilators. That's how he should have played it out. Kill the bases one by one, keep making assimilators there so they're with his main army so he can defend them. And we're about to have an interview, though, of the winner Slayers men here in just a second, which will be translated for you guys. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with this play so far here in the Super Tournament. Taking out July, now 2-0ing Genius, and what was an incredible playstyle. You know, he used the Baneling so well, controlled the map with them, used those Muse. You know, when Phoenix is out, if you go Muse, it's a bold choice, but he just committed to them and controlled the map with them, and was beautiful play. Didn't ever lose too many Muse to Phoenixes, and Genius, I think, could have possibly controlled his Muse a little bit better. All right, here's the interview now.
황도영 선수 만나봤습니다. 자, 황도영 선수 축하드립니다.
Congratulations on advancing. How do you feel?
지금 현재 소감이 남다를 것 같아요. 슬레이어스의
about to
모든
ask how he
팀원들이
feels.
지금
Didn't ask
16강에
that yet.
진출하게 됐어요. 소감 어떤 기분입니까 지금 현재?
네, 안녕하세요. 슬레이어스의 미친 존재감 황도영입니다.
네.
일단 다 같이 이렇게
Hello, I am Slayer's men.
올라가게 돼서 너무 좋고요.
I feel very happy to
선수보다
advance.
연습을 5배 정도는 많이 했다고 확신을 갖고 있었기 때문에
와.
네, 당연한 결과라고 생각합니다.
네. 자,
He said,
두 번째,
he said, I
첫
think I
번째에서는요,
practiced 5 times
박진선하고
as hard as MVP
고속도로를
Genius, so I felt really
보여줬고요. 두
confident.
번째는 이제 젤라가 요새에서 뮤탈리스크의 날갯짓을 보여줬습니다. 생각한 전략이셨던가요? 네.
네, 같은
In the second match, he
전략으로만
used a lot of mutas.
계속 게임을 한 것 같아요. 저희 팀원
What are your
선수들,
thoughts on
프로토스
that?
선수들과 한 명, 많게는 50게임씩 한 선수도 있고요. 네, 모든 선수들과 다 회의를 하면서 대화를 통해서 만든 전략이고 처음부터 끝까지 제 시나리오대로 갔었던 것 같아요.
네. 자, 그리고 16강에 올라가서
He's played against Genius a lot of times, and he found that mutas were the best strategy to use against him, so that's what he planned on doing today in the second set.
김찬민 선수가 코드 S 최고의 자리에 있다가 예선장으로 제가 돌려보냈어요. 네.
오.
한 번 더 아픈 기억을 만들어드리긴 죄송한데 저 또한 게이머고 그 선수 또한 게이머니까 16강에서 높은 무대에서 만나서 멋진 경기 보여드렸으면 좋겠습니다.
네, 마지막 팬분들에게 한 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다.
일단 응원해주신 분들께 너무 감사하고요.
He said he beat the best to knock him down into Code B, and he said he wants to meet him again and show him a good game here in the round of 16.
준식이 형하고 저하고 같이 이제 못 올라가면 망신이다. 그러고 있는데 이제 준식이 형이 혼자 남았으니까 그 무거운 짐을 혼자 다 짊어지고 잘 버텨냈으면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 외삼촌이 어제 몸이 안 좋으셔서 수술하셨거든요.
오.
지금 병원에서 이 제 경기
He says it's really important for the team that Alicia and he advance, otherwise the team will be very disappointed. Of course, Slayer's Alicia, another player on the Slayer's team.
배장훈 선수에게 이 승리를 바칩니다. 그리고 요한이 형, 가연 누나 여기서 웃으면서 인터뷰할 수 있게 만들어주신 두 분이 있기 때문에 제가 여기 있는 거고요. 항상 감사한 마음으로 열심히 하겠습니다.
네. 무슨 청룡 영화제 인터뷰가
He says
아닌가
thanks to all the people who
자, 아무튼
got him to be here.
앞으로의
He's
선수를 기대하겠습니다.
very thankful for all the training
네,
practice
자,
that he's gotten from people, and
선수를
he's very thankful. So, very nice interview there from Min, and I like what he said about the best. He said, you know, I knocked you down into Code B, but I hope you can show me a good match. He wasn't really saying it tauntingly, like, oh, I hope I can, you know, meet you again, and I hope you show me a good match because I kicked your butt last time. He was just like, I hope I meet you and you show me a good game. And, you know, interestingly enough, the best said that he was really wanting Min to advance so he could get his revenge, so we should probably see some good games with that in the round of 16. So, I have to say, going mutas against when your opponent has cranking out Phoenixes out of 2 starports is so bold. And he must have said, like he said in his interview, he found that it was the best strategy against Genius. And I mean, if you find that to be the best strategy, it works out. It's really bold, and I think it was possibly the last thing Genius expected. When you go Phoenixes, you kind of force your opponent to go Hydras and Roaches, and you kind of stay away from the Mutas, because if you've got a ton of Phoenixes on the map, Mutas just aren't as effective. But we're going to take a 2-minute break, and I'll see you guys right afterwards.
Blah blah, let's get down to business. Yeah, I don't play around when the club shuts down. I'm a zombie out to kill this. Yeah, midnight.